What's up, kids? It's V, and I've been working so hard at trying to figure out how to make my microphone work properly, how to get my camera set up properly, and my phone is supposed to have the best camera, like, in the world or whatever, but I couldn't seem to get it to work properly. Now I think we've got the good lighting, and we've got some good stuff going on. We blocked some stuff out from this window that's behind me, and I think that we've got it figured out, so I'm hoping that this video will turn out nice so that I can upload it and you guys can actually see things without everything being so pixely all the time. So let's hope that that goes well, and let's just begin. Let's begin our spooky journey today. So, the first story I want to talk about today happened not in my childhood home that I spoke about last time, but in the newer home that I spent like my most recent years in. And this house was pretty normal. There actually wasn't anything crazy going on. And hold on, my phone's not plugged in. It's gonna die. One sec. Okay, I'm back. So back to my story. So this house wasn't particularly creepy. There were a couple times, a couple of rooms, a couple nights that did get a little bit spooky, but generally wasn't too bad. And we did oftentimes have people come in and out. But again, there's nothing crazy, nothing negative, nothing like that made us feel uncomfortable. And I found they tended to respect our space a lot, which was really nice. But there are a couple times that I was a little bit spooked. This first time was when I was younger. I used to figure skate, and I used to have to get up really early in the morning, and I would be on the ice at like 7 o'clock in the morning, even earlier sometimes. To make my life easier, I would just wear my skating clothes first thing in the morning. I'd put them on and then go to skating, and I wouldn't have to change there until after, like to go to school. I would always forget to bring my tights and my skirts and everything I needed up to my bedroom so I could change in the morning. So I would always end up having to like come down the stairs because I would keep my bag in the kitchen. I would come down this, which was weird now that I think about it. But anyway, I kept my bag in the kitchen, so I'd come down the stairs, I'd open my bag, I'd get my tights and my skirt, whatever I needed, and I would go back up to my room and then change and then be on my way. So this particular day, I don't know why, because usually I have to have all the lights on in the house, like especially really early in the morning, really late at night. I get so scared when it's dark. So I find it helps a lot to just turn all the lights on as I'm going down the stairs. But for some reason this time I didn't do that. And I was like, you know what? It's fine. Just grow up. Like, there's nothing going on. You're totally fine. And I actually made a point to not turn the lights on because I was like, I'm just running down quick. I know exactly what I'm getting. Like, I'm just going to run down, grab it, and then like just sprint back up. So I'm walking down the stairs, and all the lights are off except for the one that's close to my bedroom. So like up the stairs and around the corner basically. And so I got to my bag, I rifled through my stuff, I got out my tights, and keep in mind at this point the only light that I had on around me was the kitchen light. So I got all my things and I went to turn around and shut the light off. Then I realized that like all the lights in my path and in the rooms I was in had turned on their own. And I like got chills a little bit, and then I was like, okay, well, like maybe it was my mom. Maybe my mom had like woken up and turned the lights on for me because she saw that I was downstairs. So I went up to my mom's room and I went in and she was like dead asleep. My mom is such a light sleeper that if you literally like, I don't know, you could be writing on a piece of paper and she would wake up. Like, she'll wake up from anything. It's crazy. And she was still fast asleep, and I thought definitely was not my mom. So pretty spooky there. Okay, this next one is kind of a crazy one for me. And this one had it gave me such a like deep feeling. And this story was also in my most previous house, obviously. And I was coming home late at night with my mom, and we had seen, as we were pulling in, we realized that the garage light was on, and a lot of the time the garage light was really finicky, so sometimes it would turn on and off by itself, and so we kind of just chalked it up to that. But it also was accompanied by this like gut feeling that there was something in the house, and I thought, we should really be careful, like, when we go in, because, you know, we watch this light turn on, now it's turned off. Just something weird I'm feeling something weird today. And I thought to my mom, like, it's all good, no big deal. So my mom stayed in the car for another minute, and I went in. I went inside, and I, like, stopped in my tracks and realized, like, okay, there is somebody in this house. And at this point, I'm thinking that it's like an actual person that had broken into our house and was trying to steal or whatever. I don't know. I'm scared of everything. So I was like, oh, there's somebody here. Like, we have to be careful, and, like, I don't want to go in yet, whatever. So me and my mom were sort of hanging out, like, near the front door, and we grabbed my neighbor from across the street, and he was pretty, like, he hung out with our family a lot, so he was pretty close with us. He would come over and help me, like, deal with spiders and stuff like that, so he was pretty used to coming over and helping us with things. He comes over with, like, a baseball bat, and we're walking around. We've got, like, pots and pans in our hands for protection, and we're walking around the house. We're trying to find somebody. We're not finding anyone, and we're like, okay, time to go down to the basement. Ooh, and we got chills, and we're like, okay, let's just do it. We've got to make sure there's nobody here. Like, we don't want to get axed in our sleep or anything. So we go down to the basement, still terrified, and there's nobody down there. I'm thinking, like, this is so weird. Like, I still feel like somebody's in here. I really feel like they're in the basement. But we searched every part of it, and there was no one there. So eventually my neighbor went home. I didn't let my mom out of my sight. I kind of kept her around me this whole time because I was so scared. When she went to her room to change, I went right with her. And as I'm in the bathroom, I'm hearing, like, it sounded like a radio from, like, the 1920s. Like a really, really old-timey, kind of fuzzy radio, battery powered, that, like, was just very old-timey sounding, and the way that people were talking, you could just tell. And I'm hearing it coming from the vents in my bathroom, and I'm like, this is so weird. Okay, we just checked down there. No one's in the basement, so this is something else is going on here. And I started to feel this, like, not even dread. A lot of people say that they have that dread feeling, and I know what that feels like, but this is more of like a sadness. I had this anxiety in my chest that was, like, so tight, and I felt so sad. And I'm one of those people that is considered an empath, which means that I feel a lot of things other people are feeling. Like, if you have a headache, a lot of times I will feel your headache too. Or if you're feeling really sad or angry, I can feel those things too, and it helps me to see different perspectives and to, like, understand what people are going through. And in this scenario, it just felt as though I was taking somebody's energy that was actually in the room with me. And it was just me and my mom at this time, and I guess I was in the bathroom by myself, so I'm just kidding. But it was just me. I'm feeling this way, and so I tell my mom. Eventually my sister comes home, and we say to her, like, we really need your help. We have to make a salt circle in the bathroom, and we have to help, like, cross this spirit over, because it's become drawn to me. And so I thought I saw something creepy in the mirror. Anyways, so my sister gets home. We tell her that we have to make a salt circle in the bathroom and help the spirit cross over. She comes over and she does. We meditated. We said only positive energies are welcome in this home, and if you are not of love and light, then it's time to leave. And we said it's time for you to move on. We are here for you. I acknowledge you, and, you know, it's time that you move to the light, because we're just trying to help you. So we actually managed to help guide this spirit towards the light, and we all just felt this sense of relief. Like, a silence was just, it's like when you have deafening silence and all of a sudden it's eased with, like, birds chirping in a meadow, and it's just, everything is lifted. And it was so wild. It was so wild. And I felt so, like, fulfilled that I was able to help somebody, because I think a lot of times when we hear these stories, I always wonder, like, sometimes when I hear stories about spirits being trapped, I feel bad, and I feel like I want to be able to help them. And I think that we are all able to do that if we can just tap into the right things in our spiritual mind. But I'll get into that another day. I just thought it was so interesting and so sweet that we were able to help somebody not in this world that we're comfortable in, like something that we can't see. So I have one more story for you guys today, and this story is, oh my god, I'm so stupid. I just like cut myself off and I say stupid things. I'm just dumb. Once in a while, I would like look over at the front door of my old house. It had one of those windows that was like frosted, so you could see the like when somebody was standing there, but you couldn't see features or anything, just like muted colors really. And so it was hard to tell who was at your door when somebody was coming to the door, but you could definitely tell that there was somebody there. So every so often I would hear the dog's collar, like the dog would pipe up and look at the door, and I would look over too, and sometimes I would see this like tall black figure like on the outside of the door, like looking in, and it was such a eerie feeling. I remember that sometimes I felt really scared and other times I didn't really feel scared. And of course, like, you have to make sure you don't let anything in that you're not aware of, and it can be really scary if you say the words come in and you let something in, you don't really know what you're letting in, and that can be really scary. But this figure wasn't trying to get in, I don't think. And honestly, me and my mom would always try and see it as like a message, a warning of some kind, and a lot of times we would get a vibe like that it was maybe like a I don't know how to say it, like a reaper that was trying to tell us that it was somebody's time to go, maybe. And so we always kind of kept that in our minds too, just to be prepared for whatever might happen. And we would get a lot of messages from people who had just recently passed or were about to pass and things like that. And I find like it's just so interesting that you can tell an energy based on what you're feeling, and how you can have a gut feeling like that's like this energy has this job, like if that reaper had that job to come and warn us that something was going to happen. It's just so interesting to me, and I feel like this happens a lot more than we even realize. And I feel like a lot of times we brush it off thinking like, you know, I was just imagining it, or maybe we think it is a real person like in public. Like, I wonder how many people we come in contact with daily that are like no longer actually here. And it just drives me wild. And I always think like, what's there that we can't see? And when we catch glimpses of stuff, and when we hear certain things, and we wonder like, what was that? Was it my imagination? Or something else? Or a combination? Or is our imagination just a manifestation of the things that we already know are true? Does that make sense? Well, anyways, that's me. And until next time, I love you guys.